Hi, everyone. This is Lawrence Watkins, and welcome to the Financial Juneteenth Five. These are my five favorite articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, October 15th, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first article is one of the deepest articles that I've read in a really long time, and one of the most important. It comes from the New York Times today, and it states the headline is Black Products, Black Shoppers, Black Workers, but who owns the store? At a Chicago beauty supply shop, one American dream has come true, another is still waiting for its chance. The story follows two individuals mainly. One is Crystal Holmes, who works at Western Beauty Supply, who is the manager at the store. And there's also another a Korean American owned man named Yong Sup Na, who immigrated here from South Korea a long time ago in his late 20s. He's about 65 now. Now he owns two Korean owned beauty supply stores with a mainly African American customer base in the west side and south side of Chicago as well. And the story really follows just the divergent paths with these two individuals and the difference between someone being a worker and also someone being an owner. The article opened up by detailing a scene from protest after the George Floyd killing, where some looters, I guess, riot looters, were trying to break into the Korean store. But basically, after some conversation and a few other things that actually happened, they were, Mrs. Holmes was, eventually able to fend them off. She states in this particular quote, "I understand where the rage is coming from." Ms. Holmes, 40, said in an interview, "We don't have any businesses in the community, and we are all getting killed by the police and killing each other, and we are just tired." So I thought that was a very powerful quote that gets to the heart in terms of how a lot of people are feeling right now. But this shows the story of a poor immigrant who basically came to the United States with no access to a bank loan. Mr. Na bought the store from his friend by using proceeds from the shoe sales. He paid $5,000 a month for 13 months. The business was straightforward. "You were buying cheaply made goods at a low cost from a wholesaler," Mr. Na said. "The customers were not snobby." He also owned businesses that sold pagers, cell phones, and clothing. The endeavors allowed him to pay for private school and then college for his two daughters, who I believe are in their mid 30s. As we all know, the black beauty care industry is huge. The portion of the beauty industry that caters to black women generates about $4 billion a year in sales. Much of those sales are rung up in small beauty supply stores, which are ubiquitous in predominantly black neighborhoods. Let's see here. Yet fewer than 10% are owned by black women, said Tiffany Gill, a history professor at Rutgers University. These are two historically marginalized groups. This is interesting. This is like I love this quote here from Miss Gill, and she wrote a book called "Beauty Shop Politics" about 10 years ago. African American women's activism in the beauty industry. But she states these are two historically marginalized groups fighting over the same small slice of pie when there is so much more of the pie that neither has access to. This is a story to me about culture. It's a story about sacrifice. It's a story about politics and who has ownership and what all of that actually entails in society. Uh, so uh, there was a piece in this article talking about a black woman being in charge, and that's, I guess, my main question today is, we may be managing billions of dollars, be managing, this small piece of a pie, but ownership truly does matter within the black community, and the decisions that we make need to be all about investment and ownership. This quote states, "Many beauty supply stores have a reputation for being demeaning places for the black women who shop in them." Ms. Holmes said she had been in numerous stores where employees followed customers or required them to check their bags at the door. And it shows some pictures there, but there's still tension. One woman says she's like a slave that's working there, so she doesn't have a lot of prestige, working for this Korean-owned beauty store. But she does it because the pay is steady, and also the type of risk associated with opening her own store was just a little bit too great at this moment in her life. But I highly suggest that the article is pretty long. But I guarantee you it's a great read, and it gives insight into some of the cultural dynamics that's going on in today's society, especially amongst Blacks and Koreans, but in a larger context, what's going on with any racial group or any group that's trying to gain power, that's trying to gain economic power, so that their kids and their future generations can live a excellent life that is also meaningful. So check this article out today in the New York Times. It's a great read. The next article today comes from the Atlanta Journal Constitution. It states Comcast launches effort to support Black businesses. So the Philadelphia-based cable giant on Tuesday launched Comcast Rise, which is designed to help small businesses jumpstart their operations as the nation struggles with the impact of COVID-19. The program will offer the companies grants, technical help, and media campaigns to drive growth and sustain positive performance. There's that old saying, when America catches a cold, Black America catches pneumonia, says Ron Busby, the president and CEO of the U.S. Black Chambers. Black businesses, which never recovered from the Great Recession, have been ravaged by COVID 19, with Black owned businesses twice as likely to close as their white counterparts. Comcast Rise, that stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment, will roll out in waves over 3 years, the company said. The first wave will include marketing and technology support for Black owned businesses, and the program is a part of a larger $100 million diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative the company launched this past summer. The company said as well. So it's interesting. You hear all these numbers thrown around. I think it's excellent, in terms of what companies are doing. I think it's better than them doing nothing at all. But I'm starting to notice a trend with the companies where they're not actually donating cash to organizations. They're donating in-kind services that have a certain amount of worth to them. So in this case, it comes to marketing and technology and some other things that Comcast really specializes in and focuses in as well. So it's not purely cash which is happening, and we need to be careful by recognizing that. But kudos to Comcast for donating their services and other assets that they actually have as well. The next article comes from USA Today, and is from the Walmart CEO. I believe I did not double check this, but if Doug McMillan's the Walmart CEO, then it comes from him. I believe that he may be though. But it states Business Roundtable members have new plans to fight historic racial injustice. The 208 members of the Business Roundtable have new proposals about what more we can do to move the weight of racism that presses on people of color. So yeah, he talks a lot about just some of the things that they're going to be doing. Oh, let me see if I can close this ad right here. But some of the parts that stood out to me, but here's one quote from the article. But it's clear we need to do more. It's also clear that we alone can't accomplish what has to be done. It will take broad cooperation of leaders from every sector of society working together to create a force sufficient enough to bring about the necessary change. So that's what we're doing. For our part, the 208 of the largest companies in America, members of the Business Roundtable, have come together to join their efforts. As part of that work, in June, the Roundtable established a special committee to develop policy proposals and corporate initiatives designed to advance racial equity and justice. And then later on, he goes out to lay out some of the things that they're doing. Let's see. So 6 areas to close the economic opportunity gap. In addition to justice and health, we will endorse increased federal investments in early childhood education and in measures to address the digital divide. And I think they have some housing policy stuff in here as well. But check out that article today from the USA Today, usatoday.com. The Business Roundtable is a huge deal in terms of association. They do represent most of corporate America. So if you want to see what corporate America is doing as a collective to fight racial inequities and fight for racial justice, then I think this article is a good start. The next article comes from Fortune magazine. Oh, there we go. It states we have to change who the investors are, how women VCs are working to fund Black and female founders by Ann Schraders. So it says, in fact, according to a recent PitchBook report, VC funding for female founders just hit the lowest quarterly total in 3 years. The person quoted most in this article is Sarah Kunst, and she's the managing director of Clio Capital. Kuntz notes that the vast majority of VC funding doesn't go to Black and Hispanic founders. Even when it does, it tends to disproportionately go to Black and Hispanic male founders. So there's a collective organization that's looking to change, a lot of that in terms of what we're facing. So Kuntz offers that founders should flip that and internalize it. Oh, this is basically okay. This quote is talking about just some of the day to day mindset issues and how to change one's mindset as it relates to coming and competing every day in a global marketplace. So Kunst offers that founders should flip that and internalize it as you get to be twice as good. How many times in your life can you look around and you're like, I'm so upset that I'm twice as good as everyone else around me? So that's interesting. They keep going on about that. Personally, I've never felt like I've had to be twice as good to get opportunities, but I know a lot of Black people and women feel that way. But yeah, I think this is just an interesting article that you should check out as well. So the last article I have not actually had a chance to read. It comes from the New York Times Magazine today, but it was a little bit too long for my taste today. But it's talking about the tenants who evicted their landlord. COVID-19 has revealed the depths of the nation's rental housing crisis, but a group of Minneapolis tenants has shown that a different future is possible. And I'm looking forward to reading this. So the article you can listen to is about 51 minutes long. So I did not have that time today. But the reason I especially wanted to listen to it is because it's written by Matthew Desmond. Matthew Desmond wrote an excellent book called Evicted, if this is the same individual. So he wrote a book called Evicted that really talks about the housing crisis in the United States and what happens systemically when someone is actually evicted from their homes, evicted from their apartments, that type of thing, and how it really stays with you as a stain for many, many more years to come. But I highly recommend that you check out that article too. It was in the New York Times as of 10/13, so a couple days ago as well. But as you all know, all links will be in the description as well. Before you get out of here, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, let me know how I'm doing with the FJT 5. This is a test run for about 4 or 5 more weeks to see if you all like this type of content. If you do, please drop a link, or excuse me, drop a comment down in the chat below, and let me know what you think, positive, negative, and what can be improved as well. But on behalf of the Financial Juneteenth channel, my name is Loris Watkins. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day.